so Mary and Peggy, who do we have here? Who's in this picture here?
This is our dad's mother. She's she was a gardener, and she lived just across the road from our place for a few years before she moved on to older home in Holdfast, and she lived there until she passed away.
Did she come over from Russia?
Pardon?
Did she come over from Russia?
She came over from Russia, yes, in 1920. They came over, and with all their children. Grandma and granddad, both, they came over in 1920, I think it was.
Did she come straight over from Russia to Canada, or did she go to the States?
No, she came straight over to Canada. They came right over to Canada, yeah. And at the time when Dad was to tell me that his mother, she wouldn't come over and move, but until all the children were there to come over. And then they all came over, the whole family, yeah, which was very nice that they all were able to get here. Some of them had been in the army, and they had to get them out of the army. I think it was sort of a Russian or some kind of a war they had with Japan or something. I forget now what it was. But anyway, he had to be bought out from the army so that they could all come over. And he was one of the older boys. And they all came in.
How many came over with them? How many children did they have?
There was 9. There was 9 of them. I think Uncle Leo was born here. Uncle Leo was born here. And I think there was 9 of them all told. And some had already been married, and they came over on their own after that. Some of Dad's sisters.
And what is her name?
Her name is Agatha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you named after her, Peggy?
After both of them. After both grandmothers.
They were both our grandmothers were Agatha.
Really?
Yes, that was their name. And Granddad, his name was Menrad, M-E-N-R-A-D, and he was married 3 times, if you believe it or not. This grandmother, Agatha, is the 3rd wife.
Really? What happened to his first 2 wives?
The first 2 died, and they had 1 child from the first wife and 3 from the second, and 9 from the third, because she was about 20 years younger, our grandmother. So we had quite a time trying to get our family tree straightened out. It was just quite a mix-up. And poor Mom, she persevered with us. She kind of told us what was what, and we didn't know half of the people until we started doing our family tree. Then we got to know a lot of them. We went to see a lot of them, to visit with them. Yeah.
So this grandma, when you were growing up, did you know her?
Yes, I knew her, yeah. I didn't know Granddad because he died before. When I was growing up, he died. I knew on Mom's side, I knew Grandpa and Grandma there both. But I knew this grandma, yeah, she lived to almost 90, I think, this one.
What type of a person was she? What type of a grandma?
Well, she was a nice grandma, but we were a little bit young by the time she moved away, and then you didn't get to see her that often. But she was a very nice grandma, yeah. And she lived with her youngest son and his family just across the road from us, yeah, for a good number of years. But it's not like we had that much to do with our grandmas. They're always so far away. You know, we did go to see them. Eventually they both lived in the same town of Holdfast, which would be 10 miles from where we lived, and we'd go up there and we'd visit them, maybe on a weekend or something. And I remember them being there. I remember still the house she lived in. I can just see it. And both grandmas, and they just lived on the same street, only about 4 or 5 houses apart. Yeah, so it was nice, you know. They're close to the church, and so it was really nice. They were good grandmas. I enjoyed going to visit them. Yeah. Not like today when the grandmas are more involved with the children than we were at that time. We were so far away all the time, you know.
What types of things would you do when you went over to visit with her?
Kind of.
What would you do when you went over to visit with her?
Well, we wouldn't do very much. We would just be there in the background because our parents would be visiting with them, and we'd be playing around and stuff like that. We normally didn't. Well, I know they both had gardens, and we'd be around the gardens a lot, running around when I was small. Other than that, I don't remember too much in doing too much besides just being there and running from one room to another room or something, you know, playing on our own. But other than that, our parents would be visiting because they'd only be there for a little while and they want to visit, so we'd just be in the background.
How old were you when your grandmother passed away?
Golly, how old was I? I don't know when she died now, forget now. 38. I was only 5. I was just young, I know I was just young, but I remember her where she was. She died in 1938, yeah. I'd only be 5 years old.
Do you remember her funeral?
No, we wouldn't be at any funeral. I don't know.
If we went, we'd just be there, you know, as kids, you know, we never get too involved, and then we go along, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the funerals at all myself. No.
Okay. We'll go to the next grandparent. And who is this that we have here?
Yeah, and that's
Her husband.
that's her husband, Dad's father, and I don't remember him at all because he had passed away before I was born. So Peggy, I don't know whether you remember much about him at all. I don't know him.
You were too young.
So
Then they were,
yeah, I don't know him at all.
Do you remember, or do you know why your grandfather and grandmother decided to come to Canada?
Well, they came to Canada because there was a war on over there, and they wanted to get out. That's why they came over. Dad used to often tell me they had a real nice home, and they had a beautiful country. They had lots of fruit trees, grapes, all kinds of stuff, and they had lovely land. The land was really nice and good, and they enjoyed living there, but they just thought, the parents thought it was time to get out if they had a chance to come over. And all the families more or less came over, the different ones from there.
So how old was your dad when they came over?
Dad was, I think, 20.
20, I think.
Dad was 20 when he came over. He was a grown man already, yeah. Yeah, he came over, and then and then the others were younger. I don't know how Uncle Leo was. He'd be a few years younger. Yeah, he was only 20. He wasn't married then. He got married over here. They got married, Mom and Dad got married here at the colony, just out here, east of the city. And they went straight from there. They went to Dilk, and then they got a little farm there across the road from where Grandma Stellinger lived. And then the 4 brothers had 2 on one side and 2 on the other side. So they called it the Stellinger colony. So they would help each other out. So it was always a family affair that they would be together always.
So when they came over to Canada, where did they originally settle?
They settled at Crono.
Okay.
At Crono, that's where they lived, yeah, at the colony. They were only 2 miles from the grotto. Mom was, that's where she grew up. And Mom was only 6 years old when she came over on Mom's side. So she was never able to go to school because she had poor eyesight. And she had to work on the farm with Grandpa on Mom's side. But Dad, his name was Ralph, and he worked at different farmers and with different people that over here for a good many years until they got married. I think he got married when he was 24, I think, if I remember correctly. 1912 when they got married. Yeah. So, yeah.
So I noticed down here that you spell it with one L, the last name. Do you spell yours with two?
We spell ours with two, but originally the name is Seelinger, Seelinger, way back over in Germany, and where they come from originally, Alsace-Lorraine is where it all started, in France, and then they moved on to Germany, and then their parents moved over to Russia from there when Catherine opened up to people to move in, and they all moved over there, and that's where the Seelinger comes from, and that's the way they are still spelled over there in Germany. When they came over here, it just, I guess whoever was registering them just dropped the one E and put the one E in and one L. And then when we went to school here, that was during the war, they said, well, that's not right. That's supposed to be Seellinger. And then they started spelling that at school. And so that all of a sudden, then when I bought the house and everything was under Sell, then we had to go and change our names. So Peggy and I and our brother, we went and changed our names. So we had to go through all that and change them. So I see a number of others have Sell too, and some have Sel and some have Sil, and they're all related. And Seel, so, and it's just how names changed. That's how they changed. That's how ours got changed. But we still related to all of them. But it's strange how these things happen. But they do. But officially when I bought a little house with Mom and Dad, and then I had two L's in it, and so I had to originally go and change my ports and my papers, everything had to get changed. Yeah. So.
And this one here. Who do we have here?
This is Grandma L on Mom's side, and she lived to good age. I forget how old she was. She was up there. She died in 1955, and she was around a lot. She used to come to our place a lot because Mom used to look after her because she was a diabetic. She was blind. She couldn't see, and she was looked after by Mom a lot. And she spent a lot of time with us. And like all grandmas, we were always hanging around her, you know. And but I remember her as the best of grandma because she was there a lot with us. Grandpa wasn't there as much. He died, I forget now when he died. I haven't got it here. I haven't got it on here. I don't know when he died.
Oh, it's right there.
Oh, it is. 1937 he died, yeah. Okay. And but I remember him. I remember him though. He always had this beard. I can remember him having a beard. And so But Grandma she was good. We used to go and see her a lot at Holdfast because we'd stay there overnight at their place. They had a nice little house, and they always had lots of room for us to stay overnight. And because I know we used to drive up there with sleigh in the wintertime, especially at Christmas, with the horses and the sleigh, and then Dad would have to go and take him to the livery stable and board him in for the night, and we'd stay with Grandma till the next day because we'd go to midnight mass up there all the time. So we'd always spend a few days with her. And I can remember Grandpa there too, because and they came over in 1898, I think it was.
Did they
Somewhere
also
around
come
there.
straight to Canada?
Pardon?
Did they also come straight to Canada?
They came straight to Canada, yes, and they lived over at they lived at a town called Rastad, R-A-S-T-A-T-T or D-T, I guess it is, and they lived just down the street from one another, a little bit, maybe about 4 or 5 houses from one another. One was on one side of the street and one was on the other side of the street. And that's where they didn't know each other over there until they came over here, Mom and Dad. But Dad says he sort of remembers them over there where they were. But they were from the same town, happened to be from the same town. And but they came over earlier, Grandma L and Grandpa.
So did these grandparents take up a homestead, or did they purchase land?
The homestead, no, they had a homestead, yes. We have we went to the archives here and got the homestead titles. We have them here somewhere on one of the books. And we researched all that stuff. And yeah, he got his title for his land, and so did Grandpa Salinger. He did too. So, yeah. And then they farmed up at around Holdfast, and well, we were only 10 miles away east of Holdfast at Dilk. And we get to see them quite often. But other than that, we didn't have an awful lot to do with them. Yeah.
This is your grandfather.
Yeah, this is his wife, her husband now. This is Grandpa L. His name was Ignatz, and I remember him as far as having his beard. He used to always, when we were little, you know how we and our beards, and I wasn't that old. I was maybe about 10 or something. He died in 37. No, I wouldn't be that old. I would be quite young. I remember him. He died in 37. So I don't remember too much, but I remember when he died. I say Grandpa passed away. He was sick, but I don't ever remember going to the funeral or anything. But we more than likely were there. But I don't remember it. And they're both buried up at the cemetery at Holdfast. Grandpa's and Grandma Salinger and Grandma and Grandpa L were both buried up there at the Holdfast Cemetery.
Do you remember your grandfather, Peggy?
Well, yeah, I remember him from way back, you know, and we were always around, and then, unless they were sick or something, you know, we didn't often go to see them, but ordinarily we used to go up there a lot, visit them, you know, because I mean, we weren't that far away.
Well, at one time when you were a little older, you were going to school at Holdfast, then you'd see them. I think you were staying actually with who? Grandma L?
No,
Who did you stay? Stillinger?
Yeah, Stillinger.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to high school up there.
Yeah, she went to school there. So.
What was it like staying with your grandparents?
So she stayed.
It was good. I mean, they were all good to us, you know. But they're always glad to have somebody of their grandchildren around, you know. And so they're always very, very good. And we see them almost every weekend or, you know, things like that. I might go home for the weekend or something, then we go back up again and be there for another weekend. That's the way it went, you know, till I finished my school for the year, and then I went home, and then I went out to work.
So did you finish high school?
I finished grade 11.
Grade 11?
Yeah, I took a business course. And then from there I started working. And then I went to Toronto, and I worked down there for 11 years, Imperial Oil, and then from there I came back and I worked for Imperial Oil back here again, and that's where I retired from.
Okay. And who do we have next that we want to look at?
I don't know, did you want to see? This is Grandma L and her. And there are three. It's their three daughters. And I don't know whether you wanted this.
Okay,
The
so
son, it's a different one.
these are her
This is
three daughters?
Grandma and Grandpa L.
Okay.
And this is our mom all by herself here
Okay.
when she was young. And then she's the oldest mom. And then this one is Aunt Amelia, and she is the second one. And then Aunt Mary Eva, who is the third, youngest, the three girls. And they have one son, Sebastian. This is his picture here.
Well, let's talk about your
Okay.
mom for a minute. What type of a person was your mother?
Our mother?
Hard working.
Our mother was a hard-working woman. Our mother was a real nice lady. She really was. It's one thing, she got along with everybody. She was always so willing to help. And we had Aunt Mary Eva lived across the road from her, and Uncle Leo. They had 6 children, 7. And Mom used to look after her because she was sick a lot. And she'd look after the children, and she was very, very good. And the kids would always be over at our place. Yeah, that's right. We were quite close to actually that family because the 2 brothers married the 2 sisters. So we're doubly related, you know. We're quite close to them. So, yeah.
So were you close with your mother when you were growing up?
Yes, we were very close. Yeah, Mom was a really nice person. She was a good cook. She was a good sewer. She would make all kinds of little things over from something that you wouldn't think she'd make it. She made it because at that time there wasn't very much money and things were poor, and so she had to make things over. As long as she had thread, she would make it, open it up, wash it out, clean it, fix it up, and then sew it again. She was a very good sewer, and Mom was very, very nice person. She really was.
You said she was 6 when she came to Canada?
Mom, yes, she had very bad eyesight. She wasn't really a diabetic, but see, her grandmother was a diabetic. She was pretty well blind by the time she came over here, I think. And Mom she couldn't go to school because at that time they wouldn't get any glasses, and so she didn't get to school. But she did pretty good for her age and for whatever. We learned at school, and she would learn it from us. And sometimes we'd be surprised at different words she came out with in English, you know, and because she spoke German. But the majority of the time she did pretty good in getting, when we started speaking and going to school, she learned from us, whatever. And Dad read a lot to her. He was always sitting there reading for her, because she couldn't read things herself. But if she saw something in the paper or she wanted to crochet it, she would just do it like that. Just look at it, picture, and do it. She was very, very good at fancy work, and did some nice things. We still have a lot of things that she has. They're really momentous for us. So, yeah, she was a real nice person, Mom. Very hard-working person.
Did she ever talk to you about what it was like over in Russia?
Mom didn't remember too much about what was over there because she was only 6. But Dad knew a lot. He was always telling me about how nice it was over there. He enjoyed it. But they never ever got back to go over and see it. But he enjoyed it over there. He said they had a beautiful, beautiful land over there. nice till the war started, and then then they all came away.
Can you tell me a little bit about your Aunt Amelia? What type of an aunt was she?
And Amelia, yeah, she's Mom's younger sister, and she got married to a John Bast, and I know they used to come down a lot. They used to live about 5 miles away, 6 miles away,
6 miles away.
somewhere in there.
They don't farm.
And they would come down a lot with the children, and of course we'd play with the children, but they would come and visit. I don't remember too much about them, besides the kids coming and playing with us. You know, they had 9, I think they had 9 children, and but with the children playing with us, that's about all I can remember about her. And Aunt Mary Eva, of course, was across the way. We see her a lot. That's Mom's youngest sister. We'd see her a lot because the children were always over, and she'd always have to come looking for them. They were always over at our place. Uncles and aunts, they were there, especially the 2 younger ones. The 2 younger ones, they were always, I think they almost lived at our place. They'd come and sit behind the table and eat. They'd come and find out, yeah, oh yeah, they're sitting there, they're having their lunch, they're having their supper.
So they must have lived really close to you.
Oh yeah, they were very close, yeah. They helped each other a lot because our Uncle Leo, he died quite early, and then they still lived there for quite a while. And they would help each other out. They were very good, the brothers. They helped each other out, you know, the 4 of them. Uncle George died later. Well, I don't remember Uncle George. Aunt Katie, I remember her. Uncle George died. That's Dad's brother. He died earlier. And then they had the 4 boys, and but Aunt Katie just lived down this other side with where Uncle Leo lived. We used to have to go over there and pick up our water to drink. So we had to walk over and with our pails, and pail on each side, and balance it off and bring it home and get our water to drink. We had water in the yard, but it was alkali water, and it wasn't very good. Even the animals didn't want it, so. But nothing in our yard, but we had to go out.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, and we have some, you said that your mother had a brother?
Yeah, Mother had a brother.
Okay, and this is your mother's brother?
This is Mother's brother, Sebastian, and his wife, Maria. And they lived in Holdfast, and they more or less looked after Grandma L while she had to be looked after at Holdfast. And she's my godmother, because I was named after her. My name is supposed to be Maria, but I get called Mary, but had to change all that when we changed our name. But and I remember they were both very nice people. I can remember both of them. We didn't see them that often. They lived just out of Holdfast too. They didn't live too far from town. And we did get to see them once in a while. We aren't too much in touch with the children, but a lot of them have passed on now. But there's one of the girls who is a nun, probably on the other side. Picture of her on the other side. There's a different one. And we are in touch with her more often. She's what, 95 now? 96? 90. And she's down in Ontario. New Brunswick, right.
So is this their wedding picture right here?
That's their wedding picture. That's their wedding picture, yeah.
When you were a kid, how often did you get to see them?
Oh, we get to see them, well, fairly often. Whenever we went to church at Holdfast, we would pretty well get to see them. They would come once in a while, but there were not many cars at that time, and people had to go by horse, you know, so they didn't get very, very far. We didn't have a car for, I know how old I was when Dad finally made us a car. Came home with somewhere he went to a sale and brought this old car home, and he made it into a little car. Yeah, Dad was very inventive. He was very good that way. Anything Bible used to want something, he said, "Oh, I'll think about it, I'll fix it." And he would. But I even drove the old Model T Ford. Yeah, one time. But that was years ago. I don't know how old I was at the time when he came home with this old car. It wasn't a car. It was just, he drove it home with the horses. Came home with the horses in it. Yeah, but he fixed it up, put a motor in it and everything. So it was really nice. Different things.
Okay.
She was young picture of her.
When you were growing up, did you play a lot with her?
Not really. Not as much.
No, I can, Sister Mary, I can remember her coming to see us a lot when she was first had gone in, and I can remember her in her outfit, her uniform. Then we didn't see her a lot, but in the last few years we have seen her a lot. She'd come and stay with us. She'd come right here and she'd stay with us here. Especially since, well, at the house, she used to come to the house when we had living in the house. She would come and stay, and we'd have some real nice visits with her.
She's 90s now, so.
Then she'd come here. She's 96 now, and she'll phone or she'll write a letter. We always hear from her. So, but she's having troubles now. And that's the Whole Fast Church.
Is that where you went to church when you
That's
were?
the church.
Oh.
That's the Whole Fast Church. Beautiful church. Beautiful church.
When you were growing up, how important was religion to your family?
Yes, it was very important. Religion, it was very important. We would go to Whole Fast. That's a lot, 10 miles. We'd get up there, well, as often as we could, I guess, until they had a church at Dilk. Then we would go over there. That was 7 miles from our place. We'd be over there. And then we'd have, well, yeah, then we came to the city here. So then we had our own church, Sacred Heart, for a lot of years. We helped build it. So then from there, now we're at the Blessed Sacrament. Downtown here, we're only about 2 blocks away. But church was important at the time. I can remember us sitting down and saying the rosary. All the time, especially during Lent and stuff, we had to sit down. My knees used to get sore. I was little, but boy, yes, it was. Dad would lead us, and it was very important.
So when you were growing up, were church services in German or were they in English?
English.
They were in Latin, mostly in Latin,
In the beginning. So
and then more or less in English. Yeah, in Latin pretty well, and then English. Yeah.
Were you baptized in this church here?
Yep. Yeah.
How about your first communion? Did you take your first communion in
That's
this
all
church?
there. Yeah.
Can you tell me what first communion was like?
Yeah, got a picture for.
Oh, that
Got
would
a
be great.
picture.
Let's look at that.
I
That
got a
would be
picture
great.
of. That's her there.
Okay, and this is Peggy's
That's her
first
when she made her first communion. That's Peggy.
one on the right, I think.
Do you remember what first communion was like, Peggy?
Not really, it's a long ago.
Do you know about how old you were?
One must be about 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, about 7.
It's quite small, you know.
I think maybe 8. Maybe 8.
Okay.
It's many years ago that it's impossible to remember now.
Okay, and this one is you, Mary?
Yeah, that is me.
Okay.
And I can remember sort of going, we had to go to catechism. We had 2 weeks to that. And we had to learn all about the different things, as far as I can remember. But it was sort of, the other two are our cousins. They're both cousins.
Okay.
And
So the catechism classes that you went to, how long did they last for?
2 weeks?
2 weeks?
About 2
About 2
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah. They had it in the summertime. What was it?
In the summer,
August
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, in the summer.
The outfits that you have on, is this something that was traditional back then, that you would wear a veil and a
Yeah.
nice white
Yeah,
dress?
that's how, yeah.
Do they still do that today?
Yeah.
No,
Some do,
a
but
lot,
as-
not very many.
it's
Not
just the
very
odd
many.
few, I think.
Yeah,
They kind of got away from it
Not
now.
very
But
many,
it's
yeah.
the odd one I've seen them.
that was all the habit at that time.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody wore them.
So do you remember your confirmation?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like, and how old were you?
I remember going, well, it's similar. Then I remember going with this one girl, and I don't know what name I wanted to use, a second name for some reason or other. And I had it all picked out, and when we went to get confirmed, then all of a sudden I thought, gee, I didn't know what my other name was that I was going to pick, so I picked Barbara because I was with a girl by the name of Barbara. She was with me, the two of us. So I said, oh, golly, you know. So.
How about you, Peggy? Do you
Well,
remember?
I remember, being there at the time, and how you pick names too, and the few of us went. So anyway, I ended up with Marguerite.
And your second name is Marguerite, yeah.
You pick a name, and so I thought I didn't like Margaret, but I liked Marguerite better.
That's the school we went to.
Oh, really?
That's the school we went to. Mm-hmm.
So is this a country school?
Yeah.
Yep, yeah. We only were about a quarter of a mile from the school.
Walk there every day.
And,
Even in the winter?
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Get dressed
Where
up
you
and
go.
away you go.
yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what school was like?
Well, I know it was cold. Sometimes we'd get there and the teacher would be stoking the stove trying to get the place warmed up. But it was nice. I enjoyed school.
Yes, it was good.
I say,
You get your games and your plays and your recesses and then get concerts and things like that. It was very nice.
oh yeah, we used to have lots of concerts, Christmas concerts. And I haven't even got. I remember playing Three Kings one time. I was something to do at the school with a concert. Yeah, so always Santa Claus would come, and then they'd have dances. Dad used to play, and our uncles used to play. They used to be the orchestra.
Three uncles.
They had lots of fun those days. They made their own fun, really. Whoever was there would just do it, and that was it. But
So when you were going to school, were the students mostly German Russian, or were they a mixed bunch?
mixed. They were mixed. Yes, yes.
Were they mostly Catholic, or?
Yeah, the majority were.
Some,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. But they came from different areas. But they were mostly related. Just the odd ones. There weren't that many. The Lloyds were English, and the Geselles were English, and the rest would just pretty well be all relatives,
A lot of hours.
The Hoffords were Catholic, but they were different. Don't know where they come from. Well, they must have come from over there too. Some from Russia somewhere. Then they went down to South America, and then from there they came up to Canada. I know that. They were only about half a mile from our place. So they had about a mile to school where we had just a quarter of a mile.
So did you have religious instruction in school at all, or was it just the basic reading, writing, and arithmetic?
No, it was not in school.
Okay.
No. At least I can't remember any in school.
No, she
No.
just said hold fast.
No.
Somebody's 2 weeks, before when school was
I
out.
don't remember any Catholic instructions in school. No. But you had to go up. Yeah. Well, summertime you went to catechism every year, and that was it. You learned it there.
So when you were going to school, did you have the same teacher every year, or was it a new teacher every year?
Well, I had about 3 teachers, I think, that I can remember.
They didn't change every year, Some of the 2 or 3
Walter
years.
and Miss Hess and then Tom, and that was the end of my schooling
And daydreams.
at the country school.
How many grades did you complete, Mary?
I came to the city here and I took up grade 10. I went to, 9. I went to 8 in the country school, and then I came here and took 9. And then I started working. I started in, it was during the war, and I started in the war buildings in the industries, and made some little bullets and stuff. Well, just put little holes in them. And then from there I went into the film business. I worked at the Regina Films, and then I would do my own picture taking of weddings and different things, and I'd make my own pictures. And then from there I decided I would work at another job. I went to the government, and I worked at hospitalization for, how many years did I work? A few years. Before I transferred in 53 to the Pasqua Hospital, to the cancer clinic. It's all government. And then I worked at the cancer clinic there in different divisions until I retired in 81. Yeah, 81, 82. 82, and I've been retired ever since. So that's about it, yeah.
So when you were going to school, did you guys like school?
Yeah, I liked school. I liked school.
How would instruction go in a one-room schoolhouse? I mean, there's a lot of kids and one teacher in different grades.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember a lot of that?
Well, no, but I mean, they try and take every grade it was. If it was grade 3 or 2 or 3, they kind of pay attention to the children, Then as you get older, you just, every day you had your own assignments to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Sorted out,
One thing I can remember, they would just teach. Everybody would have to learn for the different grades, and then. But I never liked exams. Anything but exams. Never liked exams. No, I can do anything but exams. I just go blank.
Every grade pretty well. Something for each grade. So
But everybody had exams. Every grade had to. They would be the provincial exams.
So did you
They
have
would
to
come in.
pass
We have to
them?
we have to pass them. Oh yeah. Teachers have to correct the papers and everything. You have to pass them. Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure how. I haven't really talked to any Canadians about how school was like. Did they have like a graduation after 8th grade for the students?
No.
Or
No. I don't ever remember anybody graduating after like they do today.
Okay.
No. Did you graduate at any time? I don't think so. I don't ever recall it being. No, it was just school, and school was out, and you either passed or you didn't. That was it. Yeah. No, there was no such thing as graduating or anything. No.
So when kids misbehave or get into mischief, how would teachers discipline students when you were growing
Oh, a lot of them got the strap. Especially the boys. The boys, they get the strap. Yeah. Even I got the strap one time.
Really?
Hmm I was playing with some dolls. Well, I had some cutout dolls in my book, and the teacher caught me with them, and I got it. Hmm Yeah, I was pretty bad. Well, I don't know. I wasn't bad. I was just playful,
Yeah, but they were
you know.
very good though. I mean,
But
as far as chastising these kids, they were. I put them in a corner for a little while, and
the odd
you know,
one, I think, got it.
but
Yeah,
wasn't they're pretty good.
but they weren't that bad.
No.
They,
So I see here that you have a doll in your hand here.
oh yeah, that was my. I think Santa Claus brought it one year. That was my doll for Santa Claus one year.
So
Yeah.
Didn't make too many dolls.
We
So-
had no dolls.
No
No. We were poor. We were poor.
what type of toys did you have when you were growing up?
Well, we just entertained ourselves. I mean, you know.
We just entertained ourselves. You
Yeah,
go out
we
behind the house and get a blanket and lay it down and watch the clouds go by.
We do that a lot.
Yeah, we used to do that a lot. But we had chores to do.
Yeah.
And you know, by the time you had chores to do, it's not like today, the kids, you don't know what to do with them. We had chores we had to do, feed the chickens, and we had all the pigs, chickens, cows, horses. We had everything there. And we had to look after them. Yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
Chores.
Yeah, that's one thing we had. We made our own fun. We just run around. We played ball a lot. Yeah.
The four families get together. So
They get together,
yeah.
play ball.
They
Yeah.
all have teams, and the people come in. Other people come in. They have a couple of teams, and they play.
Yeah, we played
And
ball a
then
lot.
somebody's-
We'd go,
somebody's
we'd
fence.
have picnics. We'd have different things, and we just go to our uncle's fence, and there we'd play. You see, they had a fence close just on our side of the road. There we had it, and we'd go and play ball, and
They got teams.
yeah. So then even the later years, I played ball here, right across the street. For years, I played softball, and I've got even pictures of that. They're somewhere, wherever I am.
Okay, so this here is Mary and her playing softball?
That's me playing softball. That's me there, right there. Where am I here? Up there. And that's my mom and dad there with me.
So is
That's the group of our gang.
this like a school team or a
No,
city
not
team?
school, not school. That was while I was working.
Okay.
Hmm
So how old were you think?
Oh, I'd be in my 20s, I guess.
And what would you play? Like go away games? Like you would go away somewhere?
Oh,
Or
yes,
where-
we'd go to small towns. Different teams would come along, and well, there's 2 or 3 different teams here in the city. Some from Moose Jaw, next town. We'd go and visit them, and we'd play ball, and we'd go to Fort Capel, and we'd go to Indian Head, and we'd go to Saskatoon, and Moose Jaw, and
Different teams.
play different teams. Yeah. Oh yeah, you win the provincial. That's probably when we won out. The different years we won out, and or whatever.
So
We're very sports minded, the 2 of us.
so was this during the war years?
Would that be 1944? Yeah, just
Well, so
Yeah.
this should be,
Yeah.
around that time.
1944.
What type of uniform did you have? Are those shorts on?
Yeah, there's shorts. They were maroon color with a beige top. That's me there. And that's all our team with our coaches and our bat boy and all the different ones.
What position did you play?
Left field. I played left field.
So were you a good player?
Yeah, I won the most valuable player one year, and forget when that was. that was it right there. When I won the most valuable player, 1 year.
Oh my goodness. So when you would go away for an away game, would you like take a bus and stay over?
No, by
or?
cars. By cars. No, they'd be by cars. Everybody would have a car, and away we go.
And did you have mitts and
Gloves. Oh yeah, we had our own gloves and our own things. Yeah.
Was this something that you did for fun, or was it something that you were paid to do, or?
Oh no, we paid for fun. We didn't get paid. No, it was just everybody would like to come out and watch us play and stuff. You know, like to do today. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was how we entertained ourselves a lot. We kept busy that way in sports. Then we bowled. We bowled for a lot of years.
Really?
We threw so many out. We had have a lot of trophies. And and then we ushered a lot. We kept busy. See, this is our ushering. At different events, people come in. We help them to the seats and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, we'd do that, and so it kept us busy. We go from ushering to bowling, and
different things.
And now we're bowling.
And this is Peggy bowling, you said?
That's me.
That's Peggy bowling.
Got a few trophies for bowling. 5-pin, 10-pin.
Here.
That's Peggy golfing
Oh
for many years.
Many years, yeah.
For many years.
Won a few trophies golfing.
That's me, and that's me playing ball.
So how long did you play ball for?
Quite a few years.
Yeah, about 10 years, I guess.
Something like that.
Close to it. 8 years.
So did you have to buy your own uniform and
No,
your mitt and stuff?
it
or?
was donated by our sponsor, who was Eilers Vicks. He was a jeweler here in town, and he sponsored us. He got us the uniforms. We got our own gloves. That's one thing we did. But bowling, we used to bowl 10-pin. That's the big balls. We used to bowl that. And I won the provincial in what year was that? Good heavens, I can't remember. Singles championship, 1966. 1966.
This is your award for?
Singles championship, provincial championship.
So do you still do some bowling today?
No, we quit.
How long did you bowl for?
Oh,
We went for many years.
20 years?
Yeah. Oh,
We bowled a long time.
Long time.
We only quit a few years ago.
Yeah.
We used to go from ushering to bowling to something else. We used to just be running. Mom and Dad would say, "Are you going again? Are you going again?" We never get stay home.
So this is your mom and dad's
Wedding picture, yep.
Do you know what year they got married?
1912.
And you said that they kind of knew each other back in Russia, but didn't really
Well,
know each other?
Dad sort of knew,
Family, I think. But
knew, you know,
they were.
and he knew where they lived, but he didn't really know, because she was only 6 when she came over. They came over long before he did.
Yeah.
So, but he said he sort of knew That's our house and the farm.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's there anymore, is it?
I get some more here of Mom and Dad.
Thank you.
Of Mom and Dad.
So this is the house that you grew up in.
Yeah.
How many of there were there in your family?
It's just the four of us.
It's just the 4 children.
So what was it like growing up in that house? Was there enough room for everybody?
Oh, it was
Big enough. Big enough.
not that much room, yeah, but it was
Big
enough room.
enough.
But I think that's probably the same thing as that one. That was our barn.
This is the barn? Is that where you would go and milk cows and...
That's right.
Yeah.
I cleaned the barn.
Oh, that sounds like fun. How often would you have to clean the barn?
Every day. Every day.
Keep it clean.
So how many rooms are in this house?
3. That was one, and there was the kitchen, and there was the front room.
So where did people sleep in the house?
Well, Mom and Dad slept in the front room, and we slept back here
Okay.
in that little lean-to. It was a little lean. That's where Peggy fell off that. She fell. She ran up. We had a ladder going up the back steps,
That's smart.
back there, and my older sister was chasing her, looking after her, and she ran up there and up and on down.
Did you get hurt?
Yep, she's suffering today.
I'm suffering for that. I've got a bad back.
She got a very bad
Very
back.
bad back.
Yeah, she's suffering today.
Yeah.
So, but that's where.
So in the house, did you guys share a bed, or did you have your own beds? Or?
Oh no, our brother had his bed, and Peggy and I had our bed in the same room, but he was over there, and we were over here in the little stove in the middle. And our older sister was gone.
She's gone.
Nice mother, very good mother. She was so easy to look after. We looked after her. She was almost 92. She was a very, very good mother.
So in this barn here, who's pictured? Is that your dad?
That's Dad and our older sister's husband, our
Okay.
brother-in-law.
So you mentioned that you had to milk the cows and clean the barn, but what are some other chores that you had to do?
Milk the cows, feed the pigs, weed the garden. All kinds of things we had to do. There's lots of little things we had to do.
Bring in
Yeah,
wood or something. You need
look
for the
after,
house or something.
feed the calves, whatever. Milk, churn the milk, make the butter, all kinds of. We were never idle. That's one thing we weren't. We were always busy. Cooking, we didn't do much cooking. Mom didn't much, but we helped. Peel the potatoes and all that, whatever we
Yeah,
needed.
we
Shell
always
the
did that.
peas and beat the sunflower seeds out of their things. Watermelons and feed the chickens, and we had lots of things
all
in
the
the
farm
farm, you
things
know.
that they
But
had.
we were really with everything. Farm, you had everything there, you know, and so it kept us pretty busy. I never minded it. Actually, I guess that's why we do what we do today. We always keep busy and doing something. Yeah.
So did your dad build that house and that barn?
No. Yeah, they built this here, the barn.
barn.
We had another barn, and this is the second barn they had to build up. But
the house
Dad,
was there.
our little house was a shed, maybe even a granary, who knows, for all I know, at one time someplace where it was sitting. And they just pulled it from one place to there, and they made it into a little house to live in. Yeah. And then this little lean-to at the back, that was over at Grandma Sellinger's place. They took it off their house and brought it over and put it on ours for us to sleep in at the back, because it was only the two rooms they made for the put it together. So, but I don't know where they got the little house from or where they got it from. They dragged it to that spot because so that they were close to one another, just by the road. And it wasn't a very big place. It was just a small place.
So how
But
much-
we lived well in it. I mean, we got along good. I mean, in it. It had all its windows and a little attic on top. So I used to climb up there quite often. Mom used to keep different dishes and different things where she had no room downstairs. We'd go up there. We'd go and get them down. Yeah,
That's where I
different.
fell off from here to there.
Yeah. Eh?
That's where I fell off from here to
From
there.
here to there. It's far enough, Peggy. It was high. And
Bunch of
she
rocks.
couldn't talk for a long time after that. She was little. How old were you? 5, I think? Somewhere around there. Yeah. And she fell off. And today she's
That's what
paying for it.
happens. That's what happens. When
Yeah.
You don't pay attention.
So, yeah.
Whoops.
So I don't know whether you need... No, we had a real good mom and dad. We really did. There's another one of mom and dad. They're sitting there. They're celebrating some kind of a birthday, I guess.
Anniversary.
So how long were your parents married?
They were married 55 years.
Something like that, yeah.
55 years, I think. 1912. Dad died in 1967.
Mom died in 1984.
Mom died in 84.
84.
She was around
She's-
quite a while
she's
after Dad
92.
died.
Yeah.
Dad died of cancer. Mom died of old age and strokes. So we had her at home. We looked after her at home. So it was. But I think it was 55 years. I think they were married.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
The 50s.
When she was young, and that's our sister and brother when they were young.
So tell me about your sister. When you were growing up, what type of a sister was she?
Oh, I was a little doll for her. When I was born, she just liked to play with me all the time, from what I hear. She was a real good sister.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
very
we
good.
were very close,
Very close.
very close.
We're very close family.
Actually, we're all close. We're very close in our family, you know.
How much older than you was she?
She's 9 years older, almost 10, not quite 10 years older than me.
So did she have to take care of you a lot when you were growing
Yeah,
up?
she had to look after me a lot when she grew up. Anyway, that is her as she grew up, and that's her and Peggy as they grew up.
So Peggy, were you close to her as well?
Oh yeah, we were very close. Always very close. We're always around, you know, so we were always...
Can you tell me a little bit about her
She-
character? What type of a person she was?
Well, she was very, very, very kind, you know. She worked at the restaurants and she
Yeah.
very well liked.
Easygoing,
Easygoing.
easygoing.
Yeah.
and
Always caring for somebody.
quite
always.
smart. She was quite talented, and
A great piano.
she very helpful, very helpful. Always there if you needed her for something or other. She was there even ahead of time, sometimes ready to give you whatever she needed you. They were very, very kind, very kind.
And was this
That's her husband.
Husband?
That's her first husband. She was married twice. That's her first husband.
Did he pass away? Or
He passed away in 1966. Yeah, he died of cancer.
did they have any children?
They had no children, and they were married good number of years. Anyway, they were married 20. They were married in 62, and he died. No, that's not 62. That's their 25th wedding. They were married in I forget now what I had on that other side of there.
Was it on this one here?
Isn't it on the bottom?
37.
Yeah,
37,
that's what it
that's
is.
right,
They're
yeah.
married in 37. That's their 25th wedding anniversary. Yeah, 37. They had no children.
So if they were
I think
married
she adopted us more or less. We were her kids, you know.
if they were married in 37, how old were you when they got married?
37. I wasn't very old.
You were a bridesmaid.
No, you were.
Oh, I was, where is it?
You were bridesmaid for Haley and
Oh,
and Amy.
Yeah, yeah, but that's when, yeah.
You were bridesmaid.
Yeah. This was way back in
You were married in 37,
37.
and you were, what would you be, 18? 18
Well,
and
yeah,
37?
I wasn't.
37
I was
and 18.
I wasn't in the city yet at the time.
But you were in the city here. You weren't very old.
No. Well, I don't remember very.
What's 37 from 18? 1918 is 19?
Yeah.
18.
About 19. You were about 19. Yeah,
Well,
you
I
were
was
young.
still
You were young.
Because Dad and I
Because
drove
I
in.
wasn't at the
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah, because Dad and I drove in.
Yeah, you and Dad came into the wedding. Yeah,
And how old were you married?
me.
You were 4 years younger than I am.
You were 19. I would be about 14, 13,
15, somewhere.
14.
So what did
4
you
years, 5 years younger than 4 years younger than you.
what did you think of your sister's new husband? What type of a person was he?
He was very nice.
Oh, he was a nice guy.
Got
He
along
was
real
really
good.
Nice.
Yeah.
A nice
Yeah.
family and everything. He was
Yeah.
really very nice.
We knew all his family and got to know them all. He was a very nice, nice man. They were very good to each other.
They were two good husbands.
But he died of cancer, and so. And then she went on a holiday, and then she remarried.
Yeah.
She remarried.
And how long was she married to her second husband?
See, they got married in 67, and he died in 10 years. Died in the 80s.
80s.
He died in the 80s. Now she was married a second time.
Okay.
That's where I am bridesmaid to her the second time.
67.
And how did
September
her
67.
second husband die?
He had heart problems. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And do you have a picture of your brother?
Yeah. There's his wedding picture.
Oh my goodness. And who did he marry?
Who?
Who did he marry? What was
Margaret Stern, was it?
Yeah, he married Margaret Stern.
And what type of a person was she?
Didn't know her that well.
She was
That
good, though.
she was a nice person.
Yeah,
We used to go and see them a lot. They used to live. They moved to Vancouver. They lived in Vancouver, and we go and see them a lot, visit them. They would come in quite often. Not that often, but now and then. And they
We got along good with her.
oh yeah, we got along fine. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your brother when you were growing up. What type of a person was he?
Well, he was an easy type going guy. He didn't want to do too much. But he was very good to us.
Oh, yeah.
He liked music. He loved to play music. He loved to play the guitar, the violin, and sing and play around that way. And he didn't, I don't remember him too much about anything in school or anything. It seemed to be, he must have been out of school by the time I was going or
Well,
something.
he
But
quit school quite young because Dad needed somebody on the farm, I guess, you know. So he wasn't that, he couldn't finish.
Yeah, but he had to help on the farm.
Yeah.
But they'd send him out and work because times were so poor that he had to go away sometimes and work for other people while we did the work at home while he was out working. And they'd go, in the winter time, they'd go fishing across the lake or to the lake, and then we'd have to clean the fish and sell them and send them away. They go across the field, the lake, to go and get some wood. So we had wood for the winter from the trees across because we had nothing on our side. So they used to have to go there. So he'd always have to go along with and then he left and he started working. He worked at the Saskatchewan Hotel here as a porter.
Then he went to bed.
As a porter, and had different things. These are different pictures of him, but they're just those there.
I think he went to bed first. He was on the bed for quite a while.
So on your dad's farm, how much land did he own?
We didn't have very much. We just had one behind the house, but would that be a quarter section? And one up about 2 miles away. That would only be about a quarter section too. It wasn't very much. We didn't have very much.
I think it's 2 pieces of land.
Just 2 pieces of land is all we had. Yeah.
It's all to pay for it, I guess.
Yeah. There was a little ways up. It must have been at least 2 miles away, or 3.
From the house, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
And so.
They struggled. Being on
Yeah.
farm, it wasn't really the easiest thing.
Yeah. So it's.
So your brother was how many years older than you?
Well, he's 2 years older than Peggy. He was born in 1916.
23.
So he was he was 86 when he died. 2 years in 2002. I don't know how old he was when he got married, or when it was there.
His one picture is in the scanner right now, so I don't know.
So I don't know how old.
There's this one here too. 43.
That was taken in 43. Okay. But
I think he was 27. They got married anyway.
our brother and his wife, our sister Amy, the oldest one, Peggy, and this is their daughter and her husband.
So how many children did your brother have?
They had 2. They had 2, a boy and a girl. And the boy died. That's the boy and the girl here. That's him. That's the boy, and that's the boy and the girl.
How did the boy die?
He had a heart attack or something.
I think so.
He was quite young. Died in. And did he die 84
Something like
when
that.
Mom died?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he died in 84. He was quite young.
Yeah.
And he was born in 56. 6 months. How old?
He wasn't that terribly old.
He wasn't that old.
No, he's been gone for a little while now.
Sharon, when she was little, and there she's graduated. Probably we have to go through this book now. she was married. I thought we had one.
And this is the three sisters.
Yeah.
You and Peggy.
Yeah.
And do you know about when this was taken?
That was taken about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
About 2 years ago.
everything to make sense simple.
Collecting some money out there for something or other we were doing.
And can you tell me a little bit about your guys' relationship when you were kids? What it was like growing up with?
Oh yeah, I don't know. We didn't do a lot. But we didn't do a lot, really. But,
we were all together.
But we've been together all these years. You came home in 53.
53 from
You had gone away. And but we were little. We just did our thing. We'd walk down to the lake, which was 2 miles away, come home again, do our chores, get ready for bed, get up in the morning, get ready for school or whatever. I can't remember too much going on at that time, you know, little pictures and stuff like that, whatever we did. But I know we seemed to lay around the back of the house and as I watched the clouds go by, and other than that, wasn't much going on. If it rained, we'd be out there with our feet getting into the wet, you know, the water and stuff. And it didn't rain that often, and boy, sometimes we'd hope it would rain, and we'd be watching it, lightning and thunder, and get to the window, and boy, did we take off again. I remember doing that, the two of us. Yeah. But other than that, I don't remember a lot. We didn't have much toys to play with. We had our catalog, Eaton's catalog. We'd cut out our table and chairs and the body of the man and the woman and whatever we needed to cut out. We used to do that. That's what we did. That was our toys. Because we didn't have any toys. We had no toys. Like different things. I got a doll. I don't think you even, what you got, I don't think you got anything. I got a doll from Santa one year. That was the only doll I had, ever. And I had it for years. Finally gave it to a good friend of ours. And her little boy played with it for years until the poor thing was just, it had its face cracked.
Okay. Mary and Peggy, can you tell us where we're at today?
Pardon?
Can you tell us where we're at?
We're at the Riverside Memorial Cemetery in Regina.
And who in your family is buried out here?
Mom and Dad, Raphael Selinger and Mary Ann Selinger are both buried here. Dad died in 1967 and Mom died in 1984. And this is where Peggy and I will be. I will be with Dad here. We will be cremated. And Peggy will be with Mom when she gets cremated or when she passes on. And this will be our resting place. We'll have it here. We'll have a little plaque put on down the bottom, just a little stone laid in with our names on it whenever we go. It's already been arranged and everything looked after. And this is where we'll be with Mom and Dad. We decided we wouldn't have extra plots somewhere that nobody look after us, and we'll just be here with them. So this is what we did at the time.
How did your father die?
Dad had cancer. He died. He had abdominal cancer. And Mom had small heart attacks, and she was quite elderly. She was almost 92. And she had a few strokes and just passed away. We looked after her at home and while she was around, and doctor thought she'd best have better care at home than she would in the hospital, and so we looked after her there. we were both retired already, so we could look after her. So that's what we did.
So why did your parents decide to be buried out in Regina?
Well, because we lived here. They moved here, I think it was 1947 or 48, we moved in here. We lived together on the 10 block Athol Street, the four of us. And so we buried them here instead of out in the country where we would have to run back and forth. This way we can come here and see them here whenever we want to. Yeah.
Can you tell me, thinking back to your childhood, can you tell me what a story about your father? One of your favorite memories of your father?
Well, there's quite a few, I think, favorite memories. Dad was very good. He used to like to sit, I used to like sit and talk to him at the back of the house when we lived on the 10 block Athol. We'd sit out back behind the house and he'd tell me about the different stories at home, what the weather was like and what the country was like, and he liked it over there in Russia, where they had a nice home and they had a nice garden and lots of fruit, and everything was really nice. But they were sorry that they had to leave. Mom doesn't remember too much about over there. She was only 6 when she came over. She didn't remember very much about Russia at all. So then they came here and they lived out at Krono for a number of years until they got married, and then they moved out to Dilk. And then from Dilk, we were all born out there. Our older sister Amelia and brother John and Peggy and I, we were all born out there. And then we all moved away, and then in 1947, 48, they decided they would move into town here. Dad gave up the farm, whatever we had there, to a nephew. And Mom said, well, she liked it in the city better than out in the country, so we just lived together until they passed away.
You said that your mom didn't have many memories of Russia, but did either your father or your mother talk about how they got to Canada?
Well, Mom says they came over by ship. She couldn't remember whether they had to stop off. She didn't know whether it was in Germany or in England, whether they had to stop off. And then, of course, I think she thinks they got to Montreal. She wasn't sure where they came in. And we haven't traced it. We couldn't find it, although we did find some record of them coming over. But we weren't, it's some kind of a Deutsche ship or some kind that they came in on. And they had to go to Winnipeg, Manitoba, where they stopped off, and then from there they came to here. There must have been some relatives here that they came to see, and that's how they got here then.
How about your father? How did he get here?
The same way, I think. He got in the same way as she did. They came to Winnipeg and then over.
Did you have anything, Peggy, that you wanted to say about your mom and your dad?
No, not really. Same thing Mary Rockford was said, you know, that they enjoyed living in Regina with us once they got off the farm, you know, and away from everything. And we enjoyed it. I mean, they were glad they finally landed up in Regina, because they could be with us, you know, so we could look after them.
We had a good number of years with them at the end. We enjoyed our time with them, and that we could look after them. And Dad was sick for a while before he passed on.
2 months, I guess.
Well, Mom was too for a little while, but it was fine. We managed fine. Neither of us are married, so we just looked after them, and that was it. Yeah.
And you said your mother helped you write the family tree and get that all together?
Oh yes, without Mom we would not have been able to do our family tree. She was a big help. We used to quiz her for hours some evenings and write, and she said, oh, I'm getting too tired. We'd be maybe 11 o'clock already, and she'd still be trying to explain to us. We just didn't know who all these relatives were. And I said, it's too bad we didn't start. At least before Dad died, we'd have had all kinds of information. But I said, that's how it goes. Hindsight, you never know what's going to happen. But Mom was very good, and she was a big help in our family tree. So we have to give her a lot of credit for getting us going. And although we did a lot of work, the two of us, a lot of phone calls, a lot of letter writing, and a lot of stuff. We just had to If we wanted to keep it going, we did. And we've got many books out there all over the world, our books. I think you have one in Bismarck, and there's one down in Lincoln, and not the last one, the updated one, but the other one before, because we went to a convention in Calgary, and we sent them each one so that they had them. So they should be there.
Seems like it's sinking.
Yeah, it's sinking. Yeah, it needs a little bit of filling in now. Won't they probably fill in one of these days again?
Okay, and whose
Okay.
gravesite is this? Whose gravesite is this?
This is our sister, our oldest sister, Emilia. She's buried here with her husband, Aelred. He died in 1966, and she died in 2002. And she's our oldest sister. I miss her because we were very close to her. But this is where they are both resting now. And we hope they're both in peace.
Is this your sister's first husband?
This is her first husband. She got remarried to William Houston
Winnipeg.
from Winnipeg, and he's buried with his first wife there in Winnipeg, and she's buried here with her first husband. That's
So can you tell me a little bit about your sister and her husband? What were they like when you were...
Well, they were very close to us. We spent a lot of time together. They were very good. He was a CPR worker, and he died of cancer in 1966. And they were very good, the two of them. They were very fond of each other, and we spent a lot of time with dinners at our place, dinners at their place, and etc. Different events. We would always be. I'd stop in now every day on my way home from work to see them. And she used to work at Champ's Cafe for a long time, but then she had to quit when her husband took sick, and so it was, yeah, her first husband, yeah.
First husband.
So that family history book, or family tree book that you wrote, did Amelia help with that?
Yes, Amelia, she helped quite a bit, not as much as Mom, but she did a lot of stuff. When we needed any help, she would be phoning, or she would help us out in writing out things and different things like that. She would help.
Yeah, she's very kind.
But Peggy and Mom and I, we sort of did the most of it, but she was right there with us to help us out.
When you guys were growing up, was she still in the house, or was she already gone?
Well, she left fairly early. We were quite young yet. I wasn't that old. She left quite early. I think she was about 17 or 18, I think. She came to the city, and she started working in Regina. And then she didn't come home. She got married, but she'd come home for visits. We'd see her quite often. They didn't have a car or anything, so they usually had somebody come by and drop them off, come home for a day or two. So, but we were very close to her, and both and her husband.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what their wedding was like? Do you remember their wedding?
Well, Peggy was a bridesmaid, but
Yeah.
I don't
No,
remember.
It was just the two of us, myself and the groomsmen, is it?
Yeah,
Groomsmen.
yeah.
And then Amy and Helen, and they were married.
And Dad, I guess,
Yeah.
was.
And Dad was there, as he drove me to the city.
I wasn't there.
For that day, Mary wasn't there. Mary stayed at home. Yeah. So,
Is there anything else about your sister that you would like to share with us?
Well, I just miss her. I really do. But she'd be, what now? 02, she'd be over, well, 90 some years old, 91, 92
yeah, she's right here.
by now. But we had her for a long time, and I guess we should be thankful for the years we were together.